to another edition of Grizzlies Daily. I'm your host, Melek Robinson, and I'm here once again with some more Grizzlies news, just talking into the offseason, thinking about what the Grizzlies can do to strengthen their core and then make a better attempt at the playoffs come the 2025-2026 regular season. So, one main thing in the offseason is what can the Grizzlies do to beef up the roster with Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane. And honestly, it's simple. Free agency is going to be key. I mean, you look at a Grizzlies team that absolutely fumbled the trade deadline by salary dumping Marcus Smart, trade away a good playmaker in Jake LaRavia. Just overall, not handling the trade deadline well. Honestly, I'd argue that they had one of the worst trade deadlines out of any team just because of how they went from such a high standard at being a 2 seed to dropping down to the AC, being in the play-in, which led to them getting swept by one of the greatest offenses of all time. So I definitely think free agency is going to be a huge, huge deal for the Memphis Grizzlies come this offseason. Honestly, it determines a lot about how the season goes, because clearly with that roster, I mean, you look at that roster's not going far. It's just that simple. There's so much more that needs to be done with that kind of team. So I've been looking at some guys that could be useful for the Grizzlies. Now, this is all hypotheticals because one thing about it, the Grizzlies cannot do too much when it comes to this all season for free agency, mostly because of the idea of re-signing Jaren Jackson Jr. Now, like I said, I don't believe he will be making an All NBA team, so I don't necessarily think the idea of paying him a supermax is on the table. That's just me, but we won't know until the All NBA teams come out. But if he does make All NBA team, that only kind of hurts the Grizzlies because that means more money. But even with the money that they're gonna pay him, regardless, it makes it harder to get free agents. So unless he takes a pay cut or something, it kind of is hard. But just on a hypothetical dream standpoint, I definitely would want the Grizzlies to go for some key guys. Like, I mean, I'm looking at the list of free agents right now. A lot of players have player options, but just simple players, like players that could contribute, especially because I've emphasized the use of veterans so much on here. I think a guy like Bruce Brown, he's sitting on he was in Toronto, now he's sitting on the Pelicans. I think a guy like Bruce Brown would be perfect for this team. I mean, you got a guy that's scrappy, championship pedigree. I feel like he fits in perfectly with that kind of offense. I mean, not even just the offense, the team in general. It brings in the energy, understands how things work, because when he was on that Nuggets team, there were multiple times where the Nuggets were coming from behind, and he was that spark plug. He was one of those few spark plugs along with KCP and all those guys. He stepped up when they needed it, and that's something that the Grizzlies desperately need. I mean, you look at other guys. I mean, Kevon Looney, Jonathan Kuminga, who I would love for the Grizzlies to absolutely go for. It's clear Golden State wants to move on from Kuminga. I mean, you got Jimmy Butler, Podziemski, just other guys like Moody that clearly Steve Kerr values more than him, and I think Jonathan Kuminga brings an excellent pedigree of skill to a team like the Grizzlies. So, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Now, granted, like I said, Nickeil Alexander-Walker you could probably get for a mid-level exception. So that would actually benefit the Grizzlies a lot more. So I definitely think if they go for somebody like him, that would be perfect. So free agency is going to be a big deal. I mean, the entire offseason will, but if they can go out to any of those guys and get a backup center alongside Zach Edey that can help train him and, teach him how to work in the post, that'll be perfect for the Grizzlies, especially when it comes to his development. Now, another thing that does need to be talked about is what exactly can the Grizzlies do trade wise. Now, you look at guys on the Grizzlies. Let's just be real. The Grizzlies can no longer rely on the youth the way that they used to. I mean, you look at guys like, just throwing some names out there. You look at Vince Williams, John Conchar, G.G. Jackson, who I think the Grizzlies should not give up on yet. But you just naming a few guys, there's been talks. There's been talks. Teams are interested in these guys. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, I feel like if the Grizzlies really want to take that next step, they have to target veterans that will contribute to the team. And honestly, I know everybody's gonna throw big names out there like, oh, try to trade for Kevin Durant or all this and that. In my opinion, when it comes to big names, there is only one big name that comes to mind that the Grizzlies should make an attempt for. They should make an attempt for. And I believe that person is Jaylen Brown. It is clear that the Celtics, and this is speaking in present day, obviously things can change. But I think when it comes down to it, the Celtics are going to have a hard time keeping that core together. Now, they could throw in all the chips and keep both Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown together, but even then, someone's going to have to come up off that team. Now, whether if it comes in the form of a Drew Holiday or Derek White, like just one of those key pieces is gonna have to, it's gonna be some uncomfortable discussions. So if it comes to big star, I would say a guy like Jaylen Brown. I just being realistic here. But if we're being like serious about it, I definitely think trading for a guy like Herb Jones would be perfect for the Grizzlies. He fits the style, he fits the team, and I feel like that's a guy that you also wouldn't have to give up much for. Now, that also would be that, like I said, dream scenario we're talking, because with the Grizzlies, you don't want to have to give up much. Now, I would say this, when it comes to general trades, there are only a few untouchables on that team. To me, there are, I want to say, 4 to 5. You got Ja Morant, you got Jared Jackson Jr., you got Zach Edey, and Jalen Wells, and G.G. Jackson. And Scottie Pippen. So 6 untouchables in my opinion. Everyone else is up on. Everyone else, I'd entertain an offer. I'm just being honest. I'd entertain an offer except for those 6 guys I just named. And it's just simply because, we're seeing these guys, some of them step up, some of them don't, and it hurts the team in the long run. And that's not something that will benefit the Grizzlies. Every young core is elevating except for the Grizzlies, and that's a major problem. That's just a major problem. You're wasting the problems of John Moran and Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren Jackson's about to be, he's like 2 years away from year 10, so you gotta like make the move now. The window is not gonna always be there. So when it comes to guys on that team that we gotta have uncomfortable conversations with, one of them is Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard, in my opinion, I think the Grizzlies should move on from Luke Kennard. He's on that 1-year deal. He simply just did not play well in the playoffs at all. Towards the end of the season, Luke Kennard did not play good. I have his stats right here just from the last few games. Even in the OKC series, Luke Kennard played about, I want to say, an average of 20 minutes a game in that OKC series. Each game, he shot about 4 to 6 shots. And here's the thing, most of those shots weren't really his best shots. You also look on the court. Majority of the time, he had a negative plus minus. It's just Luke Kennard at this point does not benefit the Grizzlies. I know the Grizzlies were trying something different with him being a playmaker and trying to help the team out in that way. But simply, Luke Kennard just did not play good. And he does not play good for the Grizzlies anymore. I'm looking in late games, not even late game situations, just him on the court in general. In that OKC series, Luke Kennard looked scared to shoot the ball. There are multiple times that you're looking like, man, this guy's a 3-point shooter, right? Like, he is scared to shoot the ball. He pump faked nearly every single shot and just hesitated. And I'm looking at it frustrated because it's like, they signed you for this. They signed you to be that guy, to be the spark plug, but you can't be a spark plug if you're not shooting the ball. Now, one guy that did is, I say, improved on being a spark plug for the Grizzlies at one point was Santi Aldama. And it's just that simple. Santi Aldama when Santi Aldama understands his game and understands what he can do and bring to the offense, he's phenomenal. Looking midway through the season, I'm thinking Santi Aldama has a case for 6th Man of the Year. Now, obviously, I didn't think he would win it, but he made a strong case for it at one point. You got to think about it. There was a point in time where Santi Aldama was scoring 20 a night. 20 a night, sometimes having 10 rebounds alongside with it. He was a great spark plug off the bench. and that's why I feel like they had so much trust in him later in the season, but it just did not click with him. And honestly, it's more to me than just the offense because I have my complaints about Santi, especially when it comes to offense. His inability to really find the right shot. He shoots a lot of contested shots. I get he's taller than the average defender, but he forces a lot of shots, especially on the wing. He will just shoot a shot just because he's taller than the guy, and it's like, man, just take him to the hole or something. So I feel like he just relies on his jumper way too much for a guy his size. But the main concern when it comes to Santi Aldama for me has to be his defense. There were multiple cases in the OKC series where Santi Aldama was either guarding Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, heck, sometimes even I want to say Isaiah Joe or Aaron Wiggins, somebody. He would get blown by, and that would cause headaches on defense for guys like Edie or Jaren who had to come over, and it just overall hurt the team so badly. I mean, I remember one play. It was a fast break. I believe it was game 2. It was a fast break. Jalen Williams just got the ball, and Santi Aldama just let him run right past him. And it's just like, I'm literally scratching my head. I'm like, dude, hurry back on defense. Like, it's like, what are we doing? Why do you have slow feet? But I will say this: there is always room for improvement when it comes to Santi. This is really, other than last year, which I guess you could say was a good, like a takeoff year for him. This year was a good takeoff year for him. It settled in his role that he can really provide what the team needs. He just has to understand that he is a lot more capable of what he can do other than shoot the ball at his size. I mean, that's just really what it comes down to. Other than that, I don't think there's too much downside on Santi Aldama. I know I've had my complaints about him, but that's just me being a frustrated Grizzlies fan. But at the end of the day, Santi Aldama, he can bring a good level of energy. I mean, he's got great chemistry with Scottie Pippen Jr., which is huge. Because like I said, Scottie Pippen is basically the Tyus Jones of this team, if not better than Tyus. So it's a lot that comes down to it. Just off-season development is really huge for this team. That's why I say get the vets in. That way the young guys don't feel the need to play hero ball sometimes or feel like their role needs to be maximized just because they feel like they need to do that. And it's just somebody needs to come in, settle the guys down, and just bring the energy up when it matters the most. Because clearly late down the stretch, obviously call 12, but at the same time, it's okay to call the others. You know, it's okay to call the others and have Ja close it out. It's just that simple. And plus, it helps guys like Ja and Jaren not have to rely so much on pushing themselves into situations where, hey, maybe late down the stretch, you're not able to play because you're in foul trouble, or late down the stretch, you're not able to play because a shot's just not falling or you're not getting a foul call when you go into the paint. So I really feel like these are things that are going to be very helpful for the Grizzlies in the offseason. So I'm going to keep following the offseason, going to keep coming up with some hypotheticals for you guys to help you kind of follow what the Grizzlies can and cannot do. Because like I said, this is by far the most important offseason in Grizzlies history in recent memory, I would say, because it's basically I'm not going to say make or break, but it's make or break for a lot of people in this organization. So if this upcoming season does not go well, or this all season does not go well, we are going to see a major shakeup of things, or otherwise we're going to be back at square one, and we're going to be wondering, man, how did we fumble this prime golden opportunity? So I'm going to keep on the loop on that and keep finding things to talk to you guys about, just keep you in the update of things. Like I said, this is Grizzlies Daily. I am on here. I'm on here basically whenever I can, which is hopefully every day. I'm trying to do every day, so just be on the lookout, guys. Make sure to subscribe and follow me on subscribe to us on YouTube, and make sure to follow me on social media. Like I said, I'm gonna be back with you guys, and stay blessed.